Alright everybody, here we are and let's simply get started. And in today's live, mainly we are gonna be talking about the React Native, and that is just like React, and that is why I just thought of adding it in my skills share. And let's exactly see how it's gonna be going on. Having said that, this is just the starting. So using React Native, I just built a mini project. So first of all, we will be just discussing that, because at the end of the day I will have to rebuild the same project so that I actually learn a lot. Otherwise, just by copying and pasting or writing the code, of course it's gonna be next to impossible to learn the things and all. But before that, just by copying and okay, I'm audible. So let's continue from here on, and first of all let's simply go through the code that I wrote. Again, that was written using the instructor, so this is not the code that I wrote on my own, but this is the code that I want to write on my own. So React Native course, and this is the RN, like React Native course and all. So let's simply open it with code, and once this is opened with the course, then we will actually start talking about it. Having said that, the good thing is that most of the things are like React. If you know React.js, if you have built web applications using React.js, most of the things are gonna be just like that. Few extra things are gonna be there, so we will be talking about them. Okay, let's simply close everything. So first of all, this is I mean, whenever you initialize any application, so this is how you get it. Inside index.js, I mean, these are the things that you don't even need to worry about it. App.json is mainly gonna be responsible for changing the things related to the app, and here I have background color to this particular color. You can have any background color. So if you add the background color over here, that background color will be kind of set to all the pages. So just keep that particular thing in mind, and now it's time to just simply continue moving forward. So the first thing that actually happens over here, that is app.js. Everything actually starts from here, or I can say this is the main file from where you actually start writing the code and all. And inside the app.js, if I just don't even show these things here, so the important thing is somewhere here. Okay, so it's everything actually starts from here, and inside app.js I have, first of all, this is status bar. The style is light because if you, when it comes to the mobile, so let me even show that. So the top section where you actually see the time and battery and all, that particular section should be light kind of, so that if I have the dark color in my screen, so that is visible. That is mainly because of that thing. So status bar is mainly for the status. If I wanna really show you by showing, I mean, if I actually wanna give the example, so I'll have to open this Android Studio, and again this is the studio. Using this you can just simply run any app. I mean, you can get kind of a virtual mobile over here, well, virtual Android mobile, and once you have that, then you can just simply check your application on this, like how it looks like and all. So this is just for that. By the way, I'm gonna be running this project, and hopefully it's gonna be going great. Of course it is gonna be going great. It is just like what components are not components, elements are gonna be different. Style, the way you write the style, that is going to be different, and that is it. The logic is going to be just like a React type. So if you know React, it's gonna be pretty much easy peasy. So let's simply run npm start. We'll just simply run it, and once I run npm start, then I will have to, once it is started, wait for a while. There are two things. You can even use your mobile to just see the result of your code, exactly how it's being rendered. So for that thing, you will be getting an kind of this QR code over here. You can just simply download Expo app. I mean, there is an app called Expo or something. So yeah, you can just simply download that app, and once you have that Expo app, Expo Go, so this is the app that you need to download. So once you download that, inside that app you can just simply kind of scan this QR code. Once you scan that, you will be able to see the result. Apart from this particular thing, I can directly open it on Android. Open on Android in the sense, this Android Studio that I have. If I just simply press A, so that will be open. So let's simply press A, and right now if you just have a look at this, so it's gonna be opening the code here inside this. So of course it's a matter of a time, matter of just few seconds, not seconds actually, maybe a minute it may take. Not sure. It is just simply installing Expo Go on Pixel 9 Pro. So this is your Pixel 9 Pro, and inside this this Expo Go is actually being installed. So if I actually try to show you that, I don't think that's even possible. Well, it is not operatable right now. Things are getting, I think, initialized. So I just gotta wait for a while, and once everything is done, then I'll just simply continue moving ahead. As for this thing, there's high possibility that this is gonna be kind of a time taking process. So let's simply get it done in the background, and let's simply go ahead from here on. By the way, this is status bar that I mentioned earlier. So this is the top status bar just nearby the camera. So this status bar that I'm talking about, where you just see the time on the left side and the battery is on the right side and all that, for making that look like a light, I mean visible, I'm just using light style light. It should make sense. And it is still being installed. Just after that, I have few things over here. First of all, I have view. So the important thing that you should keep in mind, that the way we have div in React DOM, we have view in React Native, and if you want to wrap anything at that time, this view is going to be used. So you cannot use div directly over here. So this view is used, and apart from this particular thing, if you want to use any element, so you will actually have to install those elements. So from React Native, I'm getting button, I'm getting flat list, I'm getting style sheet and view and all. So you will have to just simply get them like this. So just keep that particular thing in mind. And once I have this view, so inside this view, I have this button. So this is the first button that I have. Okay, apart from this particular thing, this is the goal input that I have. And lastly, inside this view, first of all, I have the button and I have the goal input. And apart from these two things, I have this view again. Why do I have this view? This is just for the wrapping thing and all. And if you have this view, you can even give it the style. How do we give the style over here? I will be talking about it very soon. But just below here, you can have another div. And once you have that div, you can have flat list. Whenever you have to render lots of elements, like kind of a list, you have an array and you have to just loop through the array and you have to just render the elements like in a to-do list and all. At that time here, we use flat list. There is another way as well. Instead of using the flat list, there is another component that is called scroll view. So you can just simply use this. You cannot use the things directly. If you want your page, mobile page, to be scrollable, so at that time either you use a flat list to just simply render the things, or you use scroll view. But when you are actually using scroll view, at that time you can just simply loop through the array. This is the course goals array that I have, so you can just simply loop through that inside this. So I can just simply say that course goal dot map. From here I will be getting the kind of the item and all. Once I got the item, I can just simply then render the other things. Rendering other things in the sense, I can just simply render goal item inside this, and this is how the things are gonna be going on. Having said that, whatever I render at the end, I will have to return for sure. So not return inside map, I think I need to return that. Yeah, I need to return map too. So do we need to return? I do think so that we do need to return. So we can just simply return it from here, and that's gonna be just rendered over here. So this is also a way that you can use, but the difference between flat list and the difference between scroll view is that inside, when it comes to scroll view, so you are just rendering almost everything. So whatever inside whatever there is inside course goal, all those things are being rendered at the same time. But a flat list optimizes it a bit. Optimizes it a bit means it will only render as many kind of items as the are visible. I mean, as many items as there are visible on the page. So you have your mobile screen, so you will be seeing only as many items as are visible currently on the page. That's it. And apart from the non-visible one, apart from the visible ones, others which are not visible right now, they will not be loaded at the same time. So as you scroll your screen, and as those pages come, I mean it starts getting visible, they will be loaded, and then this is how the things go on. Of course, I'm not able to put it in even words to just simply explain the things clearly, but it's like if you have a list of many elements, and if you want to render all those elements, so if you are using scroll view in that case, so whenever you are on that particular page and you are rendering all the elements, so at that time all the elements are going to be rendered at the same time. So even if they are not needed, because you don't have a lot, a big screen, you have just a simple like mobile type screen, because that is, of course, we are talking about mobiles over here. So your mobile screen is small, it's not like really big. In that case, you don't need all the elements to be rendered or kind of to be processed. You only need as many elements as can be kind of rendered on your screen, and as many elements as you can see on your screen. But when it comes to scroll view, all the elements get processed and gets rendered. That is the downside of it. And when it comes to flat list, so flat list renders only as many elements as you actually need on your mobile screen. So suppose if you have your mobile and you will be seen, you will be shown only as many elements as you can see. First of all, this thing. The another thing is that apart from those elements, others will not load. As you just scroll your screen, others will keep getting loaded as per the need, and this is how the things actually go on. So if there are thousands elements and you can only see 10, so only maybe 15 are gonna be loaded at a time, and after that, as you scroll, then the next ones are gonna be loaded, and then as you keep scrolling, then they keep getting loaded and all. So that's what actually meant. So using scroll view, of course, I've already shown, like this is how you can just simply go ahead with the things. And when it comes to flat list, so inside flat list there is a property called data. You can give it the array of the any element, or sorry, item that you have. So it is the item kind of array of course goals, and then you will have an item called, sorry, property called render item. Inside that you will keep getting your data, and inside the data you will have the item. So that's the exact item that is inside course goal. So you can just simply say that goal item is gonna be item data dot item, and this is just one of the handlers that I'm sending from here. But it's simple, and the key, it needs a key as well. So if you already have the key in your goal, that's great. If you don't have, then you will have to extract that. If you already have the key in course goals here, suppose the course goal is an array that actually looks like this. So inside this there is a key, there is a item, something like this. So if you have the key, then you don't really need to worry about that. But if you don't have the key, suppose you have the ID, in that case you will have to extract the key. So extracting the key in the sense, when I click on extract key, so I will be getting two things. I will be getting item, the same item that I'm getting here, and I will be getting the index of that particular item. And I'm just simply saying that item dot ID, that ID needs to be the key. So whatever ID I have inside this, so my course goal array is actually gonna be looking somewhat like this. So it will have more and more items inside this, and I'm simply saying that the item that I have inside this, there is an ID field, and that ID field is going to be the key over here. So just simply extract the key from there. Okay, and if you were using scroll view over here, so you will have to specify key here directly. So suppose when it comes to, let me show that, I hope I will be able to get it. So when it comes to this scroll view, so over here, as I'm just simply rendering the items over here, I will have to just have a value over here, that is key, and item dot ID, I will have to specify the key over here specifically. So this is how it actually goes. So either specify the key over here specifically, as you are just simply rendering everything at the same time. Apart from this particular thing, you can actually use flat list. And when you are actually using flat list, so if your array that already has the key inside that, so if you have an array inside that you have lots of items, and if those items already have a property called key and they have some value, and also that's okay, forget about that. But if they have a key, in that case you don't need to worry about it. Flat list will automatically get the key from there. And if that doesn't have a key, in that case you will have to extract the key. So key extractor, index and all. So this is how you can just simply extract the key. Always bounce vertical false. That simply means whenever you scroll down, so that just bounces. We will be talking about this. I'm just simply keeping it false over here. Okay, so these many things I've done over here. I've even shown you an alternative way. You can use scroll view, but flat list is more optimized for it. It's that is why we are gonna be using this over here. And when it comes to this particular course goal, so what all can we have inside this? So inside course goal, first of all, this is just an array, and this array actually contains simply put, it contains two things. It contains the key and it contains the item. And that item will be containing what? That item itself will containing two things. First of all, it will contain the text, and it will contain some more things. Text in the sense name of the goal, and then it will be containing one more thing. I'm not sure of that right now. So we will be again even checking exactly what it contains. So that's it. This is how it just simply goes. And as you just simply render here, so flat list is mainly responsible for rendering the things. So it will be rendering the stuff. And you even have on delete items, so you are just simply using delete handler. Inside this delete handler you will be getting the ID. So inside this is the first handler that you have, delete handler, that gets the ID and it simply removes that particular goal from the course goal, as simple as that. So current course filter, over here, from here you will be getting the current course goals, and you are just gonna understandable. So if you know React, it should not be hard for you how you can just simply remove the elements from use state and all. So that is quite okay, I must say. So this much we've gone through, and keep in mind, view is just kind of a div, kind of a wrapper that wraps the thing, and there are few elements on them you can directly set the style. There are few elements on them you cannot set the style directly. So at that time, view is gonna be really important kind of element to be to use over there. This UI is not responding. What's wrong with this? Coming back to this one, even it failed to install for some reason. I'm gonna be stopping it. It's not working the way I want it to work. So in that case, I'm gonna be using something else. I already had this Pixel 9a, but these things are not working as expected. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me just simply delete this. It worked initially, so I'm gonna be going with that. I hope it's gonna be working again. Let delete this too. I'm gonna be clicking on this plus, and once clicked on this, I will get the options for selecting a device, Android device. I'm gonna be going with the Pixel A9a. Let's simply click on next, and this is the name, and overall things are fine, so no need to worry about that. Play Store is gonna be there, and that's kind of really important to be there, so just keep that, let it be there. Let's simply click on finish, and if I just simply start it, it will be started. So it will be booting and also many things are gonna be done. So let's simply collapse this. Let's keep it on on the side, so that it just the whatever it needs to do that gets done here. And coming back to this, as for the result, like how the result looks like, we will be like running the application very soon. But before even that, I need to have this Android device booted so that I can actually see the result. But okay, that's the thing of the future. And once this much is done, then that's it. When it comes to the style, so this is how you create the style. So you get this particular property or kind of a method. Can we call it what? So you get this style property, I must say. And once you install it, first of all, directly from React Native. So it is directly installed from React Native. So this is what you get. So style sheet, and on that you can call a method. So this is kind of an what can I call it? Style property. So you get it, and on that you can just simply call a create method. Once you call the create method, inside that you can actually create the styles. So first of all, app container style will contain this much style, goals container style will contain this much style, and then directly you can call styles.app container or styles.goals container, and that's it. That is how you just simply use the style here on React Native. And then styles.app container and all. There is one more way, and that way is that you can just directly create styles one, suppose, and I'm just simply gonna be saying that okay, this is an object. Because this is also like that. If you actually remove this part from here, so this is just like an object, right? So even the style actually can be created like this. You can just simply copy and paste the whole thing from here. So this is also right. It's not like this will not work. This will also work. So either you use this or you just directly create the style. It's completely up to you. So if I name it style right here, styles right here, so this is also gonna be working and you will not get any error. The only difference between this style and this style is that if you use style sheet.create, it adds some validation. It checks whether your style is right or not. It makes it optimized. It removes some redundant code like style that you add. So ultimately it kinds of what it does, it simply improves or optimizes your style, and that is why you just use this particular method. Again, apart from it, it's completely up to you. Either you're gonna go with this way or this way. I'm not gonna be going with this way, but again, this is pretty simple. Like inside the styles, you have app container style, you have ghost container style, and it's just like React, the way we were kind of writing the styles in React, in the same way we are actually writing it here. But over here, React in the sense React DOM I'm talking about, and in what native React Native, you just need to create the styles mainly because it needs to be optimized. You can directly create that as well. But if you create using this particular method, style sheet.create, then the style that you create, that will be accessible just like that. So you can just simply use styles.app container and all, so that is going to be accessible. But this is going to be more optimized. That's the main reason behind using that. Coming back to this one, styles.goals container, I'm using that, and similarly I have this styles.app container, and simply put, you can even like ultimately when it comes to let's talk even about the inline style, and in React you must have remembered that if you have ever used that. So style, and inside this you can just have one more object, and that's the same thing we are doing, because whatever style we are getting, that is just an object from here. So okay, so even if we are just simply saying that styles.app container, so we are just simply adding an object. So inside this particular object you can just simply write the style. So suppose I want to have margin is gonna be 10 or something, 10 pixel, 10 stands for 10 pixel. So this way you can also go ahead. So you can definitely have the inline styles and all, but right now we are gonna be going with the this way, or not this way actually, styles dot app container. And styles dot app container, in the sense this is the section I'm talking about, styles dot app container. So ultimately I'm getting this, and once I got this, either I write this much over here, styles dot app container, or I just simply replace it with this much. So that particular styling is gonna be there. It's completely up to you. Either you wanna have this, or you can just simply say that styles dot gold container. I need to have gold container over here, not gold container, gold container, goals. I think styles dot, what's wrong with this, something is up. Okay, just missed something if I'm not wrong. Coming back to this, style is gonna be equals to styles, I just hope that name is right, goals container. Yeah, it is working right now. Because of some reason maybe I just faced that issue. And why is this loader here? Never mind, let's continue. So once this much is done, that's it. We even talked about the style, exactly how we write the style in React Native. This is also one of the ways, but this is not optimized. That is why we will not be going with this particular way over here. Let's check this thing. I most probably this is ready, and as this is ready right now, I can just simply start the project, npm start, and as this is started, then I will actually have to start it on the Android. For that thing you just have to click A, and then the job will be done. So first of all, either you can scan this QR code on your mobile and this will work, but keep in mind that you need to install Expo Go app. On that app you can just simply scan it, and then you will be able to see the result. Apart from this particular thing, open Android. This is for opening it on Android. That means on this particular Android that I have, I will have to click A. So let's simply click on A, and let's see what all is gonna happen over here. So it is just simply fetching Expo Go and then installing Expo Go on Pixel 9a. So this is Pixel 9a, and ultimately the app that I want, that is getting installed on this device. And once it is installed on this device, after that I will be able to see the results. So it's pretty straightforward. Over here online I have a virtual device, you have your mobile, you can just simply get the job done. So this is how things actually go on. Let it just simply process everything, and let's continue moving ahead. So first of all, I have this button, I have this goal. Again, this is the button for adding the new goal. This is the button for showing the input box, and lastly this is the view for rendering the rendering the flat list and all. Okay, so first of all, a button for adding it. As soon as you click on this button, this goal input appears. Once this goal input appears, whenever you add the value over there, the value gets added to the course goal, and it gets rendered here using flat list and all. So this is what I'm doing here. And if I actually click on this button, so this button is actually imported using React Native. So let me just get rid of this. This button is actually imported using React Native, and once you get the button, you cannot write a button like in HTML. You will have to just import it from React Native, and then you can use it. Keep in mind that in buttons you cannot directly use style props. So style props are available for like view. Inside view you can use style, but inside button, if you try to write a style and then if you wanna write a margin 10 or something, this will not work. So even if you just write margin 10, this is not gonna be right. Button does not accept the style. So there are a few extra things. Either button expects a few things, like it can get color. So if you just whatever color you specify over here, that color will be shown on the button. And if you actually want to make your button quite stylish, if you want to give more color and all, in that case you can actually wrap it inside view. So you can do one thing, you can wrap it inside view just like this, and now you can actually give the style to view, and then the button is gonna be kind of customized that way. But having said that, hopefully first of all, keep this particular thing in mind. If you wanna give some style to the button, so wrap it inside of view. We will even try this thing out, whether how it works and all. And the another thing is that CSS cascading does not work here. First of all, we don't really use CSS. It is like CSS like style that we provide. And the second thing is that the style that we use, that is inspired by CSS. So if we are writing margin, so the same way we write margin in CSS, but this is not CSS. You will have to keep that particular thing in mind. And similarly, this looks like HTML, but this is not HTML. Okay, this gets converted into the what Android's code, and for making applications apps mainly, you need some other tags, other elements and all. And for making a web app, you need HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Over here we need we are using React Native that simply compiles the code into the into a format that is good for app development code. So it's like I'm not even aware of the basic things because I'm directly using React Native over here. So the way React DOM compiles the code into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the same way this React Native compiles the code into plain app code, app code in a format that is suitable for creating an app ultimately. So if you want to create an app, so at the time for creating an app, you need to have some sets of tech stack ultimately, and when you write the code on React Native, that code gets converted into that format only. Simply put, what is that format? I don't even need to worry about that. Okay, this is going to be getting converted. Even I had my I can say, let's make a Google search here as well. Why am I not able to? Wow, it's hanging. Interesting. Why is that so? Mainly because the development server returned a response here 500 code. Dismiss it. This Android Studio, because of this thing, my device starts hanging. So this was the application, and just encountered some bugs here. Yeah, obviously. So this was the scroll view that I actually imported. This should not have been imported from here. It should have been imported from React Native, but by mistake I imported it, and because of that thing I was getting the error. Having said that, we will figure it out later. By the way, I wanted to make a Google search here. What all do we need to know to build an app? To build a website, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. To build an app, though we are using React Native, it works kind of a compiler that simply compiles your code, but that does not mean that things remain the same after they get compiled. So 7 things you need to know before building an app. Let's click on this. Service unreachable. Build your first app. I'd better just simply go with the response of AI here. So building an app requires defined clear not this one. क्या है? Okay, so going ahead and planning strategies, designing, I'm talking about tech stack. So what all tech stack do we need? So to build a modern application 2026, front-end user interface, backend, nope. The most in demand versus versatile recommended for months. To build an Android app, let's make it specific. So Kotlin, Jetpack, Compose, and cloud native backend integration. Simply put, we need Kotlin. Okay, for the front end and what a user sees language, Kotlin officially preferred language and mandatory with familiarity in Java for legacy code maintenance. So yeah, you need this. And then architecture pattern, model, view modeling, MVI and all. Kotlin continues to flow, backend networking. So ultimately, simply put, you need Kotlin. Ultimately, Kotlin is going to be used for creating an Android app. And the code that we write on React, that gets simply compiled into Kotlin and all. And that's it. This is how the things just simply flow. Backend as a service base, Firebase is the most popular choice for real-time database authentication, notification, and caching and all. Okay. This is not the time. These are completely new for me. I get it. I will not even be learning them. React Native is kind of a compiler I have. Kind of. It is used for compiling this stuff and all. So that's the shortest way to learn the app development. So that is why I'm just gonna be going with React Native. I already know React, so it's kind of understandable, like things are familiar, so it's good to go with this one. Later if I get the chance to just simply explore those technologies as well, so I will be exploring them. So this much I've done should be quite understandable. Just after that, I have this button. I have even explained that button does not have the style prop directly. Even if you just write that, that will not work. Even if you write it forcefully, you will get the error. So keep that particular thing in mind. And the way we have on click event on DOM web application, we have on press, because at the end of the day we just simply don't click. If we have a mobile, we press it, right? And that is why we have on press. And as soon as I on press, start goal handler. So this is the start goal handler, and this set model is visible. So this simply sets the model visible. So as soon as I click on this button, model is going to appear, and in that particular model I will have the input box and all. Again, if you want to create a model, you directly get the model in React Native. You have to just simply import it from React Native, and that's done. By the way, first of all, visible is gonna be model is visible. So that simply means model is inside this goal input. So this inside this goal input, I have the model, and when it comes to the model in the sense, it will be over everything else. Okay, and we already get it here. And on first of all, this add goal handler, because this add goal handler is used for adding the adding the goal. Model visual will be responsible for making it visible. And on cancel end goal handler, we can even kind of cancel the goal model that we have, and for that thing this will be used. So end goal handler will just simply make the model not visible, and start goal handler will just simply make it visible. Start add goal handler. Okay, inside this input button, if you actually check, so we have first of all model over here. If you set model visible, so it's going to be visible. So model, if visible can be true or false, if you make it true, that's gonna be, it will be visible. If you make it false, it will not be visible. Keep in mind, model means it's gonna be above anything on your application. So if you just launched a kind of, you rendered a model, that model will be rendered on top of everything else. So that is why that is actually a model. Okay, and over here I have entered goal text, set entered goal text, pretty much simple. I have goal input handler, so whenever I write something, this gets called, and at that time I'm just simply add the goal input here. If you know React, this should be quite understandable as well. I'm getting on add goal. This is a function that will be used for adding the goal and all. Visible, true, can be true, can be false, and on cancel will just simply close the model. Okay, if you click on this on cancel, that simply means this visible will become false. Just keep that particular thing in mind. So by the way, at the end I will have two buttons here. So first of all, I have this top level view, and below this top level view I have this image, I have this text input, and I have this view. Again, if you wanna wrap something, so you need to have view. Inside that view I have buttons. So this is the first button, this is the second button. If you actually just have a look over here, so button, I'm giving it the color, this color, but at the end of the day I have view on, like just wrapping the button, mainly because in button you cannot style it directly, and if you want to just give it some style, at that time you will have to wrap it with the view. Again, this is how it works, and so keep that particular thing in mind. And on inside the cancel, I have this on cancel. Whenever this on cancel gets fired, at that time the value of the model automatically visible, it automatically becomes false. That simply means your model will not be visible. Should be understandable. And just below that I have a button, again giving it the style, giving the title. Again, keep that this particular thing in mind as well. You don't have button like this, so this way does not work. Rather, the right way to add a button is this. So if you want to add a button, so you will be adding the button like this, and just over here you can have a title. So whatever you want to have, that click me, so this is gonna be visible over there. So this is also important to just keep in mind. Okay, so this much is done. So we have gone through this button. Add goal is the title, like that will be visible on the button. And I have on press. Whenever you click on the button, then what should happen? On add goal, that simply means goal should be added, and set entered goal text should be empty. That is fine, but the most important thing is that on add goal, entered set goal. So ultimately goal is going to be added over there. So as soon as you click on the button, that particular goal is going to be added. So on add goal, I'm already getting it from the app.js side. And over here, if you actually have a look over here, on add goal, that is goal handler. And as soon as I click this goal handler, so I'm doing two things. First of all, I'm setting the value, that is okay. Even I'm simply disappearing, not even disappearing, removing the model. So end goal handler will just simply remove the model. Again, this vocab is quite hard to understand. I will be making it simpler, but as I wrote this code with the help of the teacher, so obviously I have to go with that. But I hope you understand. I will be rebuilding this whole application, whatever I'm talking about. So we will be going through all these things again. And this much is done. I mean, inside goal input you have only this much. This is just the image. Again, if you want to render the image, so you have this image element over here, and you can directly give it some styling, that is okay. Apart from this particular thing, if you want to give it the source, you cannot give it the source like directly like this. You will have to require it. Requiring the way we have it is like in JavaScript, the way we use require to just simply require some modules and all. The same way I'm gonna be requiring the source from dot dot, that means one step back, go to assets, after assets go to adaptive icon png, and from there I'm just simply requiring this source. So this is the way, and this source will contain the source for that particular image, and this image element will be able to render that. Apart from this particular thing, this is the text input that you have. So you don't have input boxes, or you don't have input boxes, you have text input boxes. Again, they are imported from React Native, and you can just simply give them some styling, placeholder, the value, and on text change. So in React DOM or web application, we have on change, but here we have on change text. So keep all these things, properties or events in mind. And just after that we have these things. Once this much is done, that's okay. And as for the styling, it's pretty much easy peasy. Inside styles I have an input container style, so justify center, align item center, padding sola padding 16. So it's pretty simple the way you write CSS. It's like CSS, but does not mean it is the CSS code. Most of the things are like CSS. And one more thing, when it comes to this view, so flex view in like the view, they already have flex. So display flex is already added inside view. So if you just add anything inside the view, so keep in mind that display flex is already added. That simply means inside this, whatever you will add, they will be in a row, because view has a property called display flex or style called display flex by default. You can change this, but you had better keep in mind, so that whenever you build the application, you know what is happening and why is it happening. Okay, then justify center, align. Look, I'm not using display flex over here, so you could have used display flex. So display flex could have been used here, but as I'm talking about this input container, so if I actually go to this input container, this is wrapped what? This is actually a view, and view already has a display flex. That is why I'm not adding it here. So like this, you will get many things that are completely new. Like you don't need to add display flex, because there is view element, call it element, and that already has a style display flex. So you don't need to add it on your own. If you want, you can add, but that's gonna be extra thing that you will be doing. By the way, align items, padding, flex, background color. Then image should have width, height, margin. Text input should have border width, border color, background color, border radius, and width and padding. So most of the things are just CSS like, not CSS. Keep that particular thing in mind. Button container should have margin top, flex direction row. And again, you are never ever adding display flex. Why? Because in view, display flex is already by default. And button horizontal, margin horizontal, these things should be simple and all. So I'm not going to be talking about design a lot, because this is quite understandable. I'm just gonna be talking about the important things that are actually needed, because if you know React, this should be understandable. You should be getting the things exactly how the things are actually going on and all. So we have done this much. And lastly, inside app.js, we have our flat list, and this flat list is mainly responsible for rendering the items. And inside this, I have this goal item. If you actually click on, keep in mind, I'm sending two things: on delete item. So whenever this particular function will be fired, so the item is going to be deleted, and I'm sending the data. So inside goal item, you are getting two things. You have your item, you have on delete item, and the important thing is here, I will be talking about it. Kind of, we actually have a lot, sorry for that, but it's easy. Look, what is this pressable? First of all, we have this view. You should keep in mind that whenever even if we write anything, we want some text, we want some input, we want some button, that needs to be wrapped in a view, because view is just like a container here, and that view has display flex already. Now the another thing is that if you want the button pressable in the sense, if you press on the button, so that the style should change. For that thing, you can have this pressable element, and then you can just simply have it here in React DOM, or simply put in HTML, CSS, and HTML and CSS. We have on focus, not even on focus, on active, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, we have active, we have focus, we have hover, all these events we have. Similarly, if we want to have it like on press and we want to have some design and all, at that time I'm going to use this pressable element, and inside this pressable element I'm just simply gonna say Android ripple, and that color is gonna be white. That simply means when I press that, the color should become white. But this does not work for some reason. I used this and this did not work, so we will be checking it again. And if this does not work, then you can just simply give it the style on your own. So what I'm saying, ki it will be giving you this property pressed, kind of a prop that you get. So inside style you get this pressed automatically. So as soon as you press the button, this will become true, and if it is actually true, then I'm giving it some style. So this way you can just simply give it some style as well. So it's like I'm giving the style to the pressable directly, because for some reason Android ripple effect that does not work. Again, in some devices it will work, in some devices it does not work. So the guaranteed way is this, that whenever I'm adding the style to this pressable, that will definitely be shown there, right? And then on press, whenever I click on this on delete item bind this, there are three things here in JS. I will talk about this thing in detail. There is something called call, there's something called bind, call, apply and bind, and these three methods, call them they are kind of the methods. So I'm mainly gonna be talking about these three over here. Call and apply, they are used for calling the functions. Bind is used for creating a new function, and then you can call that function. And let me talk about this bind, exactly what it does over here. So bind, on delete item bind, look, if you directly write a function over here inside on press, that will directly be called. So what you should be doing, first of all, the simple way is this. The simple way is what? Simple way is like this, and on delete item, pass the id, pass the item dot id. So this way this is also gonna work. So what you are doing, on press, this particular function should run. So ultimately this is the function that you have. You cannot write it directly over here, because if you actually try to do that, as soon as this particular component renders or renders, at that time this function will be called automatically. That means you will never ever get the option of pressing it. So that is why you are just simply you have this anonymous function over here, so that this gets re-rendered, and at last whenever it is pressed, this particular function actually runs. So if you want that the second function, the function that gets returned, that should only run when this is pressed, so you will have to go with this way. Okay, and this is one of the ways, and the another way is to use the bind. So when I just say that you can use bind over here, so the code that I had earlier over here, on delete item bind does what? Bind creates altogether a new function. So what you are doing here, you are doing the same thing here, right? So inside this you were having some kind of a function over here. So on delete, so this is the function that you have, right? And first when you click on that, so function inside this gets called. The same way you do the things like this. So on delete item bind, so on delete is already a function that you have, right? So this is already a function, but if you call this function directly over here, so what will happen? Let me even show this thing to you. If you don't use this, if you just directly go with this item.id, if you just go with this much, so this will automatically be called. That simply means as soon as the component renders, at that time this will automatically be called, and once it got called, then you will never get the chance of even pressing that. And that is why we need to use bind over here. So as I use bind over here, so bind simply creates a new function. So this time a new this particular part actually is gonna be creating altogether a new function, new, call it imaginary, not imaginary, that is actually a function, and whenever you press that, that function is going to be called. So that's what I've been doing here so far. And inside that you have two things. So on delete, you cannot call it directly, so you are saying that okay, with the help of the bind, I will be creating altogether a new function. That function will be called, and when you just create the new function, then you are using this over here. This, in the sense, all the properties, or this all the properties from this particular function that you have, they should be passed to that new function. Whichever function is going to be created, all the properties is going to be passed. Ultimately this refers to this function, and this value is going to be passed to the new function that's going to be created. And apart from this particular thing, you can have lots of arguments, argument 1, argument 2, for the new function that is going to be created. So the argument that I want to have item.d, that simply means on delete, kind of a new version of on delete gets made. So as soon as you call on delete bind, so a new function will be created, and as soon as that new function is created, then that's it. Or to keeping it simple, I can even say it like this. So coming back to this one over here, new on delete function, it will be just like this, and now I can call it directly over here. So it's gonna be going on like this. So on delete, this was the function that I had, but the problem was that if I directly call that function over here, then the problem was that if I directly call the function, so on when the page renders, that gets called automatically, and because of that thing, and I just thought of giving it a function like this. And keep in mind, I cannot call it like this over here. Sorry. Don't call the function like this, because if you call the function like this, it will be kind of called when the component re-renders, and that's the same thing we were facing, or that's the same problem we were facing. On delete we had, right, item. So this was the on delete item I had. If it were only this, okay, call on delete item, that's it, don't do anything, then it would be fine. But we don't have to just call it, we have to pass a prop inside this. We had to pass the id, right, item.id, and because of that thing we had to call it inside this. It's simple. I mean, if you actually just pay a little attention. So why can't we use on delete item directly over here? Because if we had to just call the on delete item over here, that's okay. When I press this button, this particular function should be called, fine. But the thing is that I don't just want this function to be called, I even want some values to be passed. And what is that value? That value is item.id. And now as I'm passing the value, this is automatically getting called, right? And that was the problem. And because of that thing, you used something like this. Okay, this is the function that I have initially, and even you can even keep it simple in the sense you are not calling this function. Keep in mind, this is the function, and inside this function you are calling the previous function. So even if you want to keep it const example function, just like this, you can keep it like this, and you can give it example function. I don't know why I'm explaining this much, but this is really easy to understand if you just focus or pay a little attention. So on press, as soon as you click on press, this example function should run. I'm not calling it over here. Keep in mind, I'm just simply giving it this function, and I'm saying whenever I click on press, this function should be called. When this function gets called, at that time on delete function that I'm actually getting from as a prop, that gets called, and I am passing some values over here. The same thing this on bind does. So on delete bind, what it does, it creates a new function. So the way I'm creating a new function manually over here, I'm just simply saying, okay, this is the function. Inside that function, I'm calling this particular method, and over here what am I doing? On delete bind automatically creates the functions. Over here I'm creating it manually. On delete bind will create it automatically, and I'm passing this value over here. That simply means this refers to this on delete. This will be passed to this new delete function that I am creating, and I'm passing the arguments over here. So these arguments are going to be for this particular item 2. And now whenever that particular function is called, so the function that got created because of on delete item bind, that will be triggered, and once that gets triggered, that's it. You don't really need to worry about it, because that function, you created a new function using on bind. That function already had this and item id. That simply means once that function gets called, on delete function gets called, because that is just a clone of on delete for item. So what you did, you just simply created another another version of on delete. So whenever you are clicking that item or that function, that gets fired. So suppose on delete item got fired, and when on delete item got fired, you already know what will happen. So this is how the things actually go on. By the way, now I'm gonna be making it keeping it in the shortest way possible. So this is how I'm gonna be going ahead. But yeah, this is what bind does. Apart from the bind, we have two things. We have call and we have apply. We will be talking about it. They are mainly used for running the function, executing them and all. We will be talking about them. I just had a quick look on them when I just simply went through this particular course tutorial, and I hope by now you already know what this press will do. And don't ripple, this is where you just simply give the style. Okay, when I click on this, then this should look like this. But this ripple, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work, and that is why I'm just specifically giving them style. Okay, when I click on that, at that time when it is pressed, give it this style. This pressed property you get automatically. So it's like if you directly want to give them style, you can give them a style like this. This is also right, but this style will be given to it all the time, right? And that is why you are getting this pressed property. This is automatically available over here. So this pressed will tell you whenever it is actually pressed, and if it is actually true, at that time I have to give the style, as simple as that. Then I have this text over here, it's gonna be shown here, and that's it, nothing else. We have some styles, and done. I hope you understand, and that was it actually over here. And now it's all about recreating this app that we have, and we will be doing it just within an hour or so, because of course after the explanation part is done, I'm gonna be going to get some work done. But let's see how it looks like. So here I am. This is the Expo Go app that I actually opened. So this is just like a mobile. So let's get rid of this. So this is just a mobile, and if I come back here and if I start npm start, it will be started. And then if I want to start on this particular mobile, so this is the mobile, and let me call it mobile only, Android virtual mobile. But this is the mobile, and if I wanna call, I open it, the app on this one, I will have to just simply press A, and this will be opened there. So let's simply wait for a while, and hopefully I will get the result. So just wait, and now it's just running index.js, compiling that and all, and then it will start running. So this is how the app actually looks like. So first of all, we have this button. Okay, continue, close this. So what is actually happening? First of all, we have this button. So keep in mind, this is the section that I'm talking about. So first of all, we have this button. Inside this goal input, I already have what? I already have this model. This model only appears when visible is true, and that is why I'm just simply getting this button. And as for this view, this is there are like it has flat list as well, and this is hidden. So if I just simply check the goals container over here, flex gap, it is not hidden here. So I can check the style. Let me check it. I'm definitely hiding it, and how can I check it? App container, padding, horizontal, flex 1. So first of all, I am giving flex 1 to the app container. So this app container will take the full width, full height. So just keep that particular thing in mind, because padding 50, padding horizontal, you are just simply giving everything. But at the end, flex 1 in the sense that is a view that already has display flex, and if I am giving it a flex 1, that simply means it should take the whole width and height, if I'm not wrong, but we will be digging deeper into it. And then we have this button. This is shown directly, and start goal handler, and we have goal input. This is only visible when we, what do we do when we click on, like when the model, we click, kind of make the model visible at that time, and the model is visible when we click on the button. So as soon as we click on the button, the model is going to be visible. And the last thing is that this flat list. So if I actually check this thing out, so I have goals container over here. It has flex 5, gap 5, but if I'm not wrong, the model that I get, that understandable. So if the thing is that I have this button, first of all, this goal input, this is gonna be hidden over here. Hidden. Why this is going to be hidden? HIDD. Okay, this is gonna be hidden because I'm using model inside this, and model will only be visible when I say visible true. Visible true, but this visible is false right now. Why do I know that? Because of course I'm maintaining a state model is visible, and that is false right now. And as model is visible false, then I've been passing this property over here. So that simply means model is visible is false, and that is why this will not be visible, and this flat list is gonna be visible just after that. I will be able to see the flat list, but right now if you actually have a look over here, I'm just simply getting my button over here, add new goal, and I'm not getting the list because there is no list, but just below that you should be able to see the list as well. So as soon as I click on this add model goal, so model will be true, visible, model will visible will become true, and that simply means model will appear, and model takes the entire height. So let's click on this. As soon as I clicked on this, so model appeared, and right now you are not able to see your button, because when it comes to this model that is inside this goal input, so the model that I actually have, I'm even giving it a animation slide. So you can even give it some animation that, okay, when the model actually appears, so it should have some kind of animation. So that is the sliding animation, and this model is actually gonna be taking whole width and all. So just keep that particular thing in mind. This is how it's gonna be going ahead. And once this thing is done, then I can just simply add some goal over here, kind of go Come on. What is the problem? Get rid of this. Can I cancel this? Okay. So I'm just simply saying go for a walk. This is my goal. Huh? Huh? So go for a walk. You can just simply click on add goal, and when you click on add goal, this go for a walk is going to be visible here. The same way, run, milkha run and all whatever. And as soon as you just add run over here, that's also going to be visible. If you want to remove them, you can click on them, and that particular thing is going to be removed. So this is the kind of mini app that I created, and of course we have to rebuild this. So as soon as I'm back from the work, once that is done, then I will be back, and then we will start rebuilding this. We will even discuss about all the things that are here, and we will kind of work on it from scratch. I will be using TypeScript then over there. That is another case, but apart from that, everything else is fine, because using TypeScript is really important. You learn, and of course when AI is there, you can already know, you can just simply know about the types and all. But yeah, the way we use TypeScript in web development, the same way should be used over here as well, if I'm not wrong. But let's see how it's gonna be going on. Gonna be quite fun. Gonna be back very soon. Until then, take care and see you.